Hello all, welcome to Tech with Tess. So when we hear about this term called the serverless architecture, it gives an impression, at least to beginner, that whatever the application code we have created is running on some thin air, right? There is no server involved at all. But it is not the case. There are servers involved, but maybe they are like kind of abstracted away from you. Okay, so before we understand the this architecture and how it works, let's start like whatever you need, like what all you need to run your code for some user, right? So definitely you write some application code, maybe in some programming language, then definitely you require some servers. Server might be Linux, Windows, whatever the tech stack may be. Then there would be some management for the networking, storage, memory, and patching, all those management, right? So it is required. Okay. So now let's see this diagram where in this I have in my x-axis, you can see it says decreasing focus on tech infrastructure management, and on y-axis, it says increasing focus on code and business logic, right? So basically, to run a code, you require a server, and server need management about the memory, storage, networking, patching, right? So if you start like from the initial days when we use the bare metal, right? So you go to market, you purchase this bare metal server, and then you are responsible to install the OS, networking logic, storage, memory, patching, everything, right? So whenever there is a version change for the OS or runtime, you have to update that. So basically, apart from the focus on the code and business logic, your most of time goes into managing your servers and everything, right? So that the focus of developers should be on the code and business logic. Rather than that, we are focusing on the management of the infrastructure, right? So from bare metal, we move to the virtual machines, right? So virtual machines kind of a concept where on a bare metal you can run multiple servers, like multiple servers or VMs, right? So that gives you kind of a optimized resources, and you are able to manage the idle time of the machine more effectively. But the issue remains same. You have to manage the patching, the OS version upgrades, and network, everything you have to manage, right? So ultimately, you might be optimizing the resources, but still the focus is also on the infrastructure management than just on the code logic. Then next comes the container environment, right? Container means, like, you must have heard about this Docker and Kubernetes. So now here, what happens, right? So when you ship your code, you also ship all dependencies and all the runtimes in the container. Okay, and then okay, it's all dependencies remain at one place, so it's a bit kind of a much easier, but it's still there are, like, you have to optimize your containers, manage them, right? So it's still the, I mean, focus now is more on the business logic than the management of infrastructure, but still you're not there yet, right? So if you compare from bare metal, definitely a lot of things have been, we have did offloading to the system itself, but still you are managing infrastructure a lot. Okay. Now next comes the serverless, which is the topic of the this video. Here, what happens, right? So whatever the infrastructure or the machines or servers, they are provided by the cloud providers. Like, we know that Google Cloud or Azure or the AWS, right? So they have kind of a some functions exposed, right? And those functions you can directly invoke as the event driven. So once you suppose you have a requirement, suppose you run a Photoshop, okay, and you want to basically store your photographs in a like some particular format, right? And if there is some function exposed by the cloud provider that converts to your required format, right? So what you do on the click of an event, you give input to that particular function, and it will take your image and then process it and store it right in your format. So basically, in serverless, the cloud providers expose or provide the predefined functions which can be used by the users, and user will not bother about like what is the underlying infrastructure or what is the memory management. Okay, how much memory I need or storage. All those things are taken care by the cloud provider. Okay, so I mean, in real terms, still there are servers running in the background which are managing or running and doing all the stuff. But from a developer point of view, you are not bothered, right? You wrote a function and you are just trying to use an event, and you can output. That's it, right? You don't bother about the all the management of infrastructure. So now let's see the benefits of the serverless, right? So basically, right. So if you have the bare metal or like VMs, you have to procure the servers, configure them. So basically, and there might be some idle times also, right? Because you cannot run at full capacity every time. So you have to put a lot of extra cost at the initial phase itself, right? But here when we use the event-driven as well as architecture, right? Here, you pay as you go, right? So only for the actual executions, you have to pay to the provider. And then, suppose your service has become very popular, and there are many users trying to utilize it. So it will scale automatically because the cloud provider will have the auto scaling enabled from its side. You don't bother about okay how much memory you need to allocate or the storage, right? So those things are taken care by the providers itself. Then definitely, because right, they will have the good fault tolerance. So I mean, maybe in the background they will have multiple servers running. So in case one server goes down, another will take up the workload. So there is a better fault tolerance when you use the serverless architecture. Then definitely, suppose you are fond of Java, somebody is fond of the .NET. Okay, so mostly the cloud providers provide the multiple language support, and definitely these are high available. So because of the because they have the huge infrastructure in the background, so these functions or serverless applications are highly available, right? So now I think it's clear, right? So whenever you hear about this serverless architecture, you take it in the sense that okay, if somebody is using this, it means that their focus is mostly on the code side or on the logic side than the infrastructure management, right? Because a typical way in the past was to manage everything in house. Now with the advent of the cloud providers, this serverless architecture is really beneficial for the companies which are starting, and they want and they cannot or don't want to put a lot of cost upfront, right? So I hope now it is clear conceptually. Thanks a lot. Please subscribe my videos and leave comments or questions. I mean, it's only high-level video. I can also go into details if you like. Okay. Thank you very much.